Yeah. So hey everyone. So over here, the first topic would be like automation status, and in this topic, basically the requirement over here is like this is a use case. So the requirement for the automation status is, let's say in any of the count or any of the project has too many of automations running. Hello.
Tapos sa ano pintuan? Sa ano sa upuan? Yun na naman.
I'm sorry about that, Abhishek. I will take.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, so regarding the automation status, so this particular topic I have chosen to explain. So in this particular use case, what we would be checking is like, let's say in one of the project or any of the project, we have too many number of automation that is running at a time. So what we are going to do over here is, let's say by mistake or any manual error due to something, any of the developer or any of the person who was working on that automation missed to schedule that automation again. So what happens, we don't get any status. Like in the automation, if you can see, there is an option where you basically send an email notification. So if the automation has errored out, you basically receive an email like the automation error out, and you also receive the what is the reason for that. But when if the automation is paused, you won't be going to receive any of the notification. So based on that, I have used this particular use case in one of my project, since there was around 100 plus automation, to just check like if any of the automation is paused, we just get that notification within an hour. So yeah. So in this particular thing, let's say there are three ways which we can do. One is directly using the API to fetch all the details, like you can use the installed package and fetch all that automation from the instance. But our use case is basically targeting on the required automation. So let's say in one of the business unit, you are also using some test automation in that business unit. So you only want to check the status of those automation for which like those are the production automation or for which you want to know like a status. Okay. So what we are doing, we are not using the API over here. We are making use of one of the data extension. That data extension, yeah. So this is the data extension structure which I have used. So this data extension basically consists of a key. This key resembles the external key of the automation. Automation name, that automation name is not a required thing, but yeah, if you can use, you will be able to see like which automation it is pointing to, and the status for that automation, and the flag. So this flag attribute I have used, you can use any attribute. I will explain why I have used this flag attribute in later section. So these are the structures for the data extension. Now let's say go to one of the data extension. So yeah, this is the data extension which I have used. Okay, and this is the key, automation name, and status, and the flag. Okay. Okay. So yeah, like the one step is to create the structure for data extension, and the next step is to write the SSJS code. So basically, the SSJS code I have defined in the slide in different section, like what's which of the section does what and why we are using that. So yeah, I would be explaining that particular thing. So this is the script which is being used to fetch the automation status at the real time. Like anytime if you want to run this particular script, you can run and you will get the status at that point. So in the first thing, let me open my automation. So I have already created that, and Okay. So yeah, this is the script basically, which I've used it over here to fetch the status. So regarding this script only, I would be explaining in the slides, like what all things we are doing. So first thing is we are initializing the variable over here and the core library, which will be using it over here. Okay. And at that point, this point, you can see there is a data row variable where we are fetching the automation status data. Like this automation status is the data extension name. We are making use of this flag variable to fetch all the records from this data extension. So this was the reason I have made use of this. Just a second. Yeah, I have made a use of this flag variable over here. Yeah, this flag variable, I marked it as true. So suppose at any point you want to add any of the automation which you want to get that status, you can just add it in the contact builder. You can just add that data into this data extension. So you need the key for that automation. Once add that, that particular record will have a true value by default, and we just need to okay, so yeah, we just need to check what is the status for that automation. So this automation field will be kept as blank. Now, yeah. So over here, we are fetching all the details, like all the rows from that particular automation status data extension, which consists of all the different automations. Okay, so I can show you over here. In this data extension, there are some automation which I have created. These are some dummy automation which has been created. Right now you can see some status since I ran that to check. So yeah, so over here you can see some of the automations are there. Okay, these are the key which I have kept. This is the external key for those automations, as well as the automation name. Okay, and this is the by default true. Okay, so in the slide, if I can show you, we are just checking all the data extension data into one of the variable, that is the data row, and we are checking by using the loop. Okay, and the if condition, like if any of the data exists in that data row object, then yeah, we are moving forward and using a loop to fetch the details for each and every automation one by one. Okay, so what we are doing, let's say data row has one of the value as automation 1. Okay, like this, let's say suppose first row is the automation 1, and in the script we are checking for the first row. If you can see, we are checking I equal to 0, and data row dot 0 dot key will define the first row of the automation and the automation 1 as a key. Okay, after that we are storing that particular value into this variable automation customer key, and at this point we are creating one object, okay, to retrieve all the data from the automation object. Okay, you can see over here there is an object type as automation. So if I can show you in the SFMC objects, there are different object over here, like automation activity instance. So this is the automation object which from where we are fetching the data. Okay, now from that automation, we have what all properties we are fetching. We are fetching the customer key, name, and status. So basically we are not fetching over here, we are just defining what all attributes we would be using from the automation object. Okay, so these all attributes, customer key, name, and the status, you can easily find it over here. Yeah, customer key, name, and the status. So depending on your requirement, you can fetch any of the data which you want to fetch. Like there are many other attributes as well. So since in this particular thing, I just had to fetch the status and the name of that automation. So I've used this thing. Okay. Now the third part is creating the filter. Based on what condition I would be fetching the details, that is the automation customer key. So in over here, you saw like in the automation customer key, we are fetching for the first row, what is the key for that? And based on that key, we are fetching other details like the name and the status. So we are defining the filter over here, like what will the filter based on the customer key equals to the value of the automation customer key. We would be fetching the details. What all details we would be fetching? We would be fetching the name and the status for that automation based on the key for that automation. Okay. And at this point, we are just running this particular invoke retrieve to run all these whatever we have defined, like these codes. Since we want to run and fetch all the details into one of the variable, we have used this automation result set. So this automation result set would be fetching status for that particular automation based on the automation key. So this is how this particular script is working. Now I can show how. So yeah, over here, this is the thing what we are doing. Okay. After that, these are some of the status which we get from the automation object. So the status is basically in the form of numbers. Okay, so -1 shows like it has errored out. Basically, in this automation status, we won't get this anytime, but yeah, we would be getting this like ready. If the automation is not scheduled, just we have created that. We would be, if you want to check the status, we'll get the status as ready. If the automation, when we ran this particular script, at that point, if the automation was running, only then we will be getting this status, running status. And this pause status is when if someone forgot to activate that particular automation, so it will give you if the automation is paused. So basically in this particular script use case, we would be checking if the automation is paused or not. We won't be checking error because yeah, there is an option in the automation where you can directly get the notification for the error. Okay, so yeah, over here, if you can send add your email address or the whatever the email address you want, and if the automation has errored out, it will give you a notification, but we don't get this for the paused automation. Okay, so for that, this particular script has been added. Now, once we get the result, like let's say if we get the status for that automation, and so we want to check that automation somewhere. So for that, I'm using this observe data activity to observe the status for that particular automation into the same data extension. Okay, so this particular thing is observed, like the status is observed depending on the key of that automation. So this is how this is working for the automation by using this automation thing. Okay, by using this automation. So over here, what all things we are using? We are using a script to check whether the automation has paused or any other status. Then we are using one of the SQL query. This SQL query I have used to just fetch only the paused record and send it to one of the data extension. This I'm using just for the verification purpose. Let's say if none of the automation is paused, then you don't want an email, right? Because otherwise it will send an email after every run. So what it will check, if the automation is, any of the automation is paused, only then it will run this particular send email activity and it will send an email to you. If any of the automation is not paused, this verification automation, what it does, it check for the count. If that particular or like say the previous SQL query, if there is any of the automation which is paused, so the count will increase, right? So it checks if the verification, if the automation, if that data extension count is 0, it will stop the automation here itself. Else, if any of the automation is paused, it will run this particular email send activity as well, and it will send to the email to any of the stakeholder who has been added. Okay. Now there are two ways. Either you can receive the email, you can schedule it for an hourly run after every 1 hour, and you can check for this automation status every 1 hour. Or you can do one more thing, like you can use the same script which I have used over here. Like this is the script. We can use this whole script into one of the cloud page. So in the cloud page, let's say in the code view, I have added the same script over here. Just the change which I have done is instead of that particular upsert activity, I'm just printing the value in this same page itself. So if you see, let's say if you want to don't want an email, rather you want to just check whenever you want to, you can just click on this particular link and it will show you which of the automation is paused. Okay. So let's say this is a normal one which I have created. Depending on your requirement, you can design it. Okay. So this just show like, okay, this is the automation status and it is in pause state. So at any point, if you want to check rather than sending then checking every hour, you can just click on this particular cloud page, you will get the status for that automation. Okay. Now I will do one thing. I will run this particular automation and I will show you both the way, like how we can see that in the cloud page, as well as how we can check in the email. Okay. Right now the email thing is not working, but yeah, I can show you over like in the preview and send. Okay. So yeah, let me check once. So let's say there are three automations. Okay, I have created these three dummy automation. So first and second was in pause state. Let me just activate one of the automation. Okay. I will activate automation one and automation 3 as well. I think it is active. Yeah. And automation 2. Yeah, this is in pause state. Let's say this is in pause state. Double check everything. Yeah. So let's say in the data extension right now, you can see like automation 1 is in pause state. Okay. And over here, we have just activated that automation. So let's say if the status change or not, like it would be changed to scheduled. Okay. Let me run the automation. So by the time it runs, you can check that in this particular cloud page. Let's say if I click on this particular cloud page. Yeah, it is giving only for one automation. Previously, it was giving for automation 1 as well. Right now, since it has been scheduled, it is giving for only that automation, which is in pause state right now. Okay. So let's say in the automation, how it is working. Okay, so this particular script has run. So we can check it over here in this data extension. What is the status? So yeah, you can see like this has been changed to schedule and one of the automation is in pause state. Okay. So now you want to also check whether in the email, how does that looks? Okay. So in this automation, I would be using the preview and test method. Okay. To just check how does that look. In the content also you can check, like this content is a simple one. Over here, I'm just checking all the data from this automation status, like using a lookup row. I'm fetching all the details. And then I'm running the loop to fetch like how many automation are in pause state. Okay. And just displaying it in this email. So if I do a preview and test, so yeah, it says, hi Abhishek, this is an issue in the automation above. So it says about this particular automation. Okay. If there are two automation which are in pause state, in the same email, it will give you both the details of that automation. Since in in the script, like in the content, you can see we are running a loop, okay, like counter based on the first, it will check for one record, it will check if there is any issue, it will print that record, and the counter will increase to 2, and if any of the other automation which is paused, it will show in the same email. So that also we can see it over here. Let me just pause one of the automation. Okay, it shows 2 automation are paused, and in the script, okay, so yeah, we can check in the email as well, like how many automation are paused. So it right now shows like, okay, automation 1 is paused and automation 2 is also paused. So this is how it will send you an email. So the email would look something like this, based on, and for that you can also use one of the target data extension. Like if you are targeting sending it to your stakeholders, you can just add that data extension over here, as I have used it, to whom it should be sent. So I have used one target data extension. So let's say if you are adding, if you have a 7 member of a team, so you can add all 7 emails over here, email address as with the name, with their name. It will be sent to all the 7 stakeholder, stating like which of the automation is paused. So this is how this automation status works. So this has been implemented in one, like I have used in one of the automation. So yeah, this is how it works. So this is all about automation status, how we can check using the email as well as using the cloud page. So whichever fits you best, you can use it. So any question on this? Okay.
I don't see any questions as of now, Abhishek. You continue with this session, the next use case.
Okay, sure. So the next use case is double opt-in. So in the double opt-in, basically this is useful for those who have some dedicated delivery profile or sender profile, which you would be using it just to target audience, means the genuine audience. Okay, so the genuine audience over here, what I can define is, let's say you have given some, you have some survey page or a subscription page where you want the customer or the subscriber to enter their details, and based on that you would be sending them the offers related to that. Okay, so while sending an offers, you want like your delivery profile should not hamper, or the sender profile should not hamper due to the wrong email address. So what happens if they suppose any of the subscriber has entered the wrong email address, and that data is being captured into one of your data extension, and later on you are just targeting those email address as well for your offer related email. Okay, so what happens basically, if that email address is the wrong one, it will bounce. Okay, so to means just to ignore those things, like you don't need to send it to those email address which has a bounced, which has a which are not a correct one. Okay, so for that I have used this particular thing, like double opt-in, using the cloud page itself. So it's a simple use case. I think it is mostly used as well. So yeah, I would be explaining this. So let's say yeah, so it basically hampers your IP reputation if you are targeting the invalid email address. So for that, what is we can do, let's say there is particular sign up form. Okay, for here, since I haven't used a third party website, I've just used the smart capture form in this particular use case example to show. So I would be using that. So what how the flow will go is, let's say we have this particular survey page. We would be adding, let's say I'm a subscriber and I'm adding my details, my name, email address, and phone number, and submitting the data. So it is not correct, like it would be something like it won't be a genuine one, depend upon whether the subscriber has entered the correct email address or not. So we just want to verify. I think you guys have seen, like, once you subscribe to certain thing, you get a verification email. Okay, once you verify, only then after that you get some related emails to that. So this is just a verification process. So we would be verifying the email whether the email is a genuine one or not. Okay. So let's say I'm a subscriber and I have submitted my details and clicked on submit. So those data would be captured in this data extension. Okay. So I will show you how this data extension looks like. So this is the data extension which I have created for this use case. So what all attribute it has like name, email address, consent, phone, and date. Okay. So basically, whatever the data I have, we would be getting name from the smart capture form, email address, and the phone number. Date would be the by default current date, and this consent uh, this consent attribute will remain blank. Okay, for the first record, unless and until it has been verified. So let's say let me use one of the value. Let's say this is the form. Okay. And I have just entered my name over here, like my detail. Okay, so let's say this has been added. If I submit the form, it says thank you for your submission. Okay, once the value has been submitted, you can see that record over here. Okay, so this has been used by using the smart capture form. Okay, so the data has been added, and you can see the consent part is like it is blank. Okay, so right now it is not a verified email address. So even if you let's say this is particular subscription page and there are around 100 people who have been subscribed, to verify whether it is a correct email address or not, to send a different email from a different delivery or sender profile. So what we do, once particular subscriber has entered their record, there is one journey which has been created. Okay. So yeah, like one since the smart capture form is directly added to the this particular entry event, okay, in the journey builder, what happens whenever someone submits the form, it basically sends a verification email, okay, to them to verify whether they have. So this particular sender profile, you can use any of the sender profile, okay, and you can send a verification email just to them so that they can verify their email address, and based on that you can target those customer in your next campaign from the different dedicated delivery profiles. Okay, so once the subscriber submit the form using this journey, it basically added to that data extension with the consent attribute as blank. At the same time, an email is being sent to that particular subscriber. Okay, just to verify that. So let's say in this particular journey, okay, subscription journey. So this is the journey. Okay, over here you can see the entry event. So based on that, if once the email is been sent, you will from this I can't send an email, but yeah, I can show how it would look like. Just a minute. So yeah, so email looks something like this, like verification email. It looks like, hi Abhishek, please verify to become eligible for subscription. Okay, so just need to click on this verify, and after that we would be yeah, just need to click on this verification link. Okay. So in the email, just let me open my email once. So let's say this is the sign up form. So this is the email which you would be receiving from the journey which has been created. Okay. So if I do a preview and test, okay, just a second. Okay, so data has been added to this data extension. Let's say the email will be sent to this email address. Okay, so using the preview and test, I can just show how it would look like. So it would look like something like this, like, hi Abhishek, please verify your to become eligible for the subscription. Once you click on this verify link, it will tell you like, thank you for the verification. And in this particular data extension, the consent will be marked as yes. Okay. So this tells you like, okay, this particular email is a verified one, and you can utilize this particular subscriber in your upcoming campaigns, whichever you want to target. So yeah, like this is the thing, using like double opt-in. I think this this should be used everywhere. And yeah, this is all about the how to you can double opt-in using the cloud page.
A quick question here, Abhishek. So once the recipient gets the email and clicks on the verify link, can you take us through the process of what happens and how the data gets back to the marketing cloud?
Okay, yeah, sure. So what happens, let's say in the content, I've created it, like whatever the data to whom the email will be sent, we would be fetching the email address. Okay, like from that data extension, we'll be fetching the email address, as well as we would be using this cloud page URL. What we do, this is the cloud page ID. Okay, so ensure the cloud page ID. So let's say this is the cloud page ID which have been used to opt in. Okay, 494 is the cloud page ID. So let me open, and so once you receive an email, your data would be saved in that email, particular email, whatever you have received. These data would be sent to that email. Okay, so we're using the cloud page URL. What we are doing, we are just posting the email which has been used in that particular email what you have received. The email address we are just sending, whatever the email address you have. Okay, and over here, if you can see, there is a variable, like there is a href to redirect to the page. So what we are doing, we are sending all the attributes, like not all the, like over here, we are sending only the email address to this particular cloud page. So whenever someone clicks on this verify link, what it will do, it will send redirect to this particular page. Okay, so this is a predefined function in SFMC cloud page URL, where you need to pass the page ID, like to which page ID these attributes need to be sent. Once the at that particular page, you would be sending the email. Okay, so once someone clicks on this particular attribute is being sent to this cloud page. Okay, in the cloud page over here, what we're doing, we are using the request parameter based on from request parameter. So whatever the parameter is being posted from the email, we are using it over here. Okay, this is the email, this particular variable and this variable, like this variable, it should be the same. Okay, so based on this particular variable, we are requesting the parameter. Okay, so from the whatever the parameter has been sent from the email to this particular cloud page, we are using the request parameter and storing it into one of the email address. Like this is the email variable which I have used, but basically it will capture the email address. And one of the variable I have hard coded it as consent equal to yes. Okay, and what I'm doing, I'm just updating the data into the same data extension where the, like this is the same data extension. I'm just using it, that data extension, to update based on the email address. So this email address field is equal to the email address, the same email address field. Okay, so this is the attribute. So based on this attribute, I'm just updating the consent of that particular subscriber. Yeah, over here, like this one attribute defines based on how many condition. So I'm using only one condition based on the email address. So I have made it as one. If you guys want to update based on 2 or 3 conditions, you need to specify like 2 condition or 3 condition. And how it works is like if you keep it as 2, it will work. It will use these 2 as a condition. Okay, filter based on these 2 conditions. Since I have used one, it will update the consent based on the email address into the data extension. So this is how it works. So yeah, this is all about.
Okay, can you go back to the data extension properties and show us the field type of the email address? Yeah, is there any reason why it is set up as
Okay, it should be email address. I forgot to change it.
Okay, that's fine.
It should be email address because if it is not an email address, you won't be able to send it from the journey builder or any of the thing.
Okay, so
yeah.
And in the journey, you have showed us the journey wherein the email comes in, and you have used the entry event. Can you show, maybe throw some light on how it was set up and what it was using?
Okay, so you want to know about how the entry event has been set up?
Correct. Yeah, maybe you can create a new journey or just edit this one and show
sure.
how it is.
I can just delete this one. So let's say this is the cloud page. Okay, over here it is showing. So over here we just need to add the cloud page, and once we click on the cloud page, it will show like what is the entry event we want to use. Since I have created this particular subscription page which is live right now, I can select this data. It will show like what all are the target, means what all are the fields I am accepting from that particular cloud page. Okay, you just need to click on next and then. So what happens that over here you have just added the just a minute. Yeah, over here you have just added the journey. In the cloud page you have added the let me check once. So in this particular smart capture form, how it works is we are defining like, okay, it need to be used in the journey builder. If we mark it as unchecked, it won't be seen over here. Okay, right now it was we were able to show that because this was checked. Okay, then we want to define like where the data should be inserted. So over here you can define the data extension, and you can select the data extension based on your like whatever the data extension you have created. Like I have created this particular data extension, so I have used it over here, select, and what all attributes I need. Like that data extension has all these 5 attributes, but I need only name, email address, and phone number to be added. So the cloud page is linked to the data extension. In this journey, we are linking the journey to the cloud page. So how it works is whenever someone submits the form through that cloud page, that data enters into the data extension, as well as the same data enters into this particular flow, like in this particular to receive an email. So this is how the entry event works basically.
Awesome. Thanks for your patience, Abhishek. Thanks for the detailed explanation. And any other questions, guys, please post them in the chat window. I'm sorry, I'm not able to unmute, to give the permission to unmute yourself, just to avoid some background noises. And if you have any questions after the session, please feel free to use the Slack channel. And we do have the separate channel created for this one, Implementation Series 2022. If you have any question related to these sessions, please post in that specific channel. And we will be sharing the recording soon. And I thank everyone for joining today's session, and especially thank the speakers of the entire series and my fellow co-leaders and the speaker of today's session, Abhishek. Thank you once again. And we hope to see you again in the next session. Please join the Trailblazer community group to get notified of any other events that we're going to publish. And I'm seeing another question, Abhishek, if you would like to answer that. I'm gonna share that now. Can we send the same captured information from Marketing Cloud data extension to Salesforce object? So
okay, yeah, Naresh, like regarding this, like from the data extension to SFMC object, I don't know if that is possible, but I haven't used this. I haven't checked it. Like if it is possible, yeah, but definitely I will try to check like whether it is possible or not, since I haven't used it, so I won't be able to tell you right now.
And the next one, regarding automation status use case, do we need to manually add each automation in the data extension?
So yeah, basically the thing is, since we are, let's say you don't need to, like if you have a set of automation which you can add it, you can import all the data into that data extension. So basically why I have added this particular step is, let's say in that particular business unit, you have some test automation as well. If this is possible using the API as well, but based on the API, you will be fetching all the automation, okay, into that data extension. So I don't want to fetch details for all the automation. Instead, I just want some required, like there is a limitation, like we just want few automation to be checked. So for that, I have used this data extension thing to like manually add it to data extension and check for the status. We don't need if any of the automation is like if there is any test automation, for that we don't want to check. So that's why.
Awesome. Thanks, Abhishek. And one other, just a note for you, if any of you have implemented something and you're proud to show it off and you want to be a speaker in one of the sessions, please let me know and we can arrange for that. And thank you once again, and hope to see you again in the next session. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.